Hello everyone, welcome to our first class, Introduction to Programming Theory, presented to you by Permatech Code Academy. And so, before we begin the actual implementation, I think it's very important that we do this theory class just for the absolute beginners because we need some insights, at least some background information on what we're going to be doing. So for those already with some knowledge, welcome to, and please send your questions and feedback on the comment section below. So just bear with us for this theory session. It's going to be a very short one, but it's at the same time very important to give some background information. Now, I know most of us have heard some basic terms like programming, programming language, and all that. So I want to give a short explanation on these terms just to give more insight again. And basically, a computer program is a set of instructions that is executed by a computer to accomplish a particular task. In simple terms, a computer program is just a set of instructions that tell a computer what to do. And now the process of creating these instructions is what we call programming. Programming is actually that process of creating instructions that tell a computer what to do. And this is done by a programmer. Now, programming is just the process of programming actually involves several steps. And first of all, before you start programming, you need to know what you are going to program about. What program do you want to write? What is the case that you want to address with your program? And then after you understand your case, you need to analyze your case again very well. And then you will need to develop and generate algorithms and verify them. How correct are your algorithms and how are you going to do the actual implementation? And also choose which particular programming language do you need to use. So that's basically the process that you have to go through for you to write a successful program. And also when it comes to what language that you're gonna use, we have quite a variety that you can choose from. You can decide to use C#, you can decide to use C++, you can decide to use Swift, you can even go for Python depending on the kind of program that you need to write. Some programs like web application programs, like desktop apps, you have to choose like a specific language for it to work well. So in our case here, we are going to focus on C# programming language. And for C#, it's actually just an object-oriented programming language that was developed and launched in 2001 by Microsoft, and it is purposely for writing software programs. In 2020, C# is actually a to-go language because of some of its features. For example, C# is easy to learn. As you're going to see, it's a very easy language to learn. Also, it's object-oriented language and it is open source. C# is also a cross-platform language, and it is actually used by large corporations in many applications, in many desktop applications and mobile applications. In one way or the other, you must have an encounter with a C# app. Now, C# has got some capabilities that are quite robust. Now, with C# you're able to do a console app. A console app is actually you have to create it a command line application. With C# you can do window forms applications. That's what we're actually going to have a deeper look on in our upcoming series. That's with C Sharp. You can also have window presentations, Windows Presentation Foundation client application. You can also have browser apps and SQL Server database projects. That is all that can be done by C Sharp and many more. And for you to be able to develop your apps in C Sharp, there is something very important that you're gonna need. You're gonna need something that we call IDE. IDE is a short form of Integrated Development Environment. And for IDE, in simple terms, IDE is that environment that is going to provide you facilities for you to develop your software application. And now IDE in the minimum is going to have source code editor, it's going to have build automation tools and debugger. And also some IDEs come along with a compiler and interpreter. So when we start the actual implementation, you're going to see IDE in action. And for our case, for our C# app, we are going to use this a special kind of IDE called Visual Studio. And Visual Studio is an integrated development environment that was also developed by Microsoft, and it aids in developing graphical user interface. You can also have console apps, web apps. You can also have mobile applications and quite a number of them using Visual Studio. Now, for you to be able to use Visual Studio, you're gonna need you have to install Visual Studio into your machine in case you don't have, and just go to this link here provided. You can see this link. When you go to this link, you're going to download the exe file, and then you just follow instructions and finally click install, and bam, you have Visual Studio in your machine. If you have it already, please don't worry. I think I'm going to also have a video where I'm going to actually show you the actual process of installing this Visual Studio, because it's actually a process, but it's easy for those who can follow the instructions. You just go to the link and follow instructions and install Visual Studio. Now, after you have your Visual Studio in place, you are going to have an encounter with something that I said is what we are going to focus on, is window forms application. On the screen, I hope you can see this. This is just a very simple window forms application example. As you can see, that's the basic look of it, but of course we can have complex window forms applications depending on the case that you need to work on. Depending on the program that you want to develop is what determines what kind of a window forms app that you're going to have. You can also develop it and do a lot of stuff with it, but for these simple ones, it's basically meant to just sum up two numbers. You enter your first number, you enter your second number, and then when you click sum, you're supposed to see your result here. You can also close it. So this is a very basic one, and it gets complicated. The more complicated the case, the more complicated your WinForms becomes. But this is just a good example for you at least to see what you're gonna expect. Now, why window forms? Why are window forms good? They are good because with window forms, you can have ability to build graphically rich desktop applications. As I said, the more complex the case, the more complex your WinForms is gonna be. WinForms also offers you drag and drop placement of visual controls, hence easy to build. I'm gonna explain visual controls in detail in the upcoming demo. You're gonna see what are visual controls and how they are used and how to adjust them and do quite a number of properties on them. And just to give you heads up, some of the visual controls that we are going to encounter. We have text box, we have labels, we have radio buttons, we have check boxes, we have combo boxes, picture boxes, and much more, as we are going to see. Now, from here, what next? I think for now you have at least some background information. At least you may know what you expect. But it is very good for us to do a demo, for you actually to see everything in action. That's why from here, what next is a demo in the next video. So please go to the next video, watch the demo step by step, and if you have any question or a comment or feedback, please remember to have it on the comment section, and I will be glad to answer all your questions. I'll be glad to interact with you. I'll be glad to get your feedback on how we can even improve more, or if you have any topic that you want us to do, please just put it down there and I'm gonna work on it. Welcome, and go to the next video and watch. Thank you.